踏んで後悔しやがれ。これが
Welcome back, nerds. Fino here with a guide for Nagakura Shinpachi. He's a limited 4-star berserker introduced in Gura Gura Super Goryukak. Apparently that's how you say it. And he's the consolation prize on both Shingen and Kenshin's banners. The last limited 4-star Zerk we had was the tragically one-note Somerset Shonagon, so let's see if Shinpachi can dig us out of that hole. This guy has a loadout that would have made a Year 2 player cream their pants. He's a Buster crit attacker with 3 Buster cards and a Buster Noble Phantasm. That would be Ryuhiken, a single target Buster attack with a preemptive single turn 100% crit damage buff and Evade Purge. It's overcharged as a single turn of a preemptive Buster buff. This means all this shit happens before any damage goes out. Because the buffs on this NP don't linger, you should fire this off whenever you can combo it into an NP Buster Brave Chain, and as far as your decision making is concerned, I'd take that over a natural Buster Brave Chain. For your typical Buster Beatstick, this is where I tell you that you're fucked. Either you have a single turn stardom without any game plan past turn 1, or you're dependent on external star sources like Koyanskaya and Anniversary Blonde. While Shinpachi does appreciate both of those, he has an unconventional star engine. Recklessness is a 3-turn Buster and Guts package that also doles out 10 stars whenever he's hit. Now, getting hit and being a Berserker generally isn't a great combination, but Shinpachi can ideally survive at least 1 turn with his Guts and another with Mind's Eye, True. This is a single turn evade and 3-turn defense buff. It's not a huge amount of defense. He's not Ibaraki, so don't count on that saving you. The evade, though, will buy you another turn. So if you can arrange circumstances accordingly, say by running the Atlas uniform for its invulnerability, Shinpachi can feasibly survive for the full duration of Recklessness. His first and second skills both have a 6-turn cooldown, so with cooldown reduction from the aforementioned Koyanskaya and Atlas uniform, you can actually maintain coverage for a second cycle, but his third skill, Battle Ready, shows another possibility. This is a single turn Buster Star Absorption and 100% crit damage combo that dumps out 10 stars of its own. Moreover, it has a lean 4-turn cooldown, so with 2 Koyanskayas or a single coin with Atlas, you can double stack this on turn 1. After he gets the cooldown reduction append, he can instead recast it on the next turn with only a single source of cooldown reduction, assuming it cuts 2 turns like the above options. Shinpachi has a lot of ways of generating big burst turns, controlling both his own access to crit buffs and having a functional, if unconventional, star engine. The only thing missing from this equation are the cards themselves. Shinpachi doesn't have any hand manipulation effects, so you'll have to strategize. Option 1 is to frontline him in a full team and hope for the best. This is historically where face card dependent servants and strategies struggle. Reset hell. Not the most fun way to play the game, even for a degenerate gambler. Watching Da Vinci's laundry machine spit out Arjuna? Funny. Watching the game give you a handful of coin cards for half an hour? Not so fun. Option 2 is the other one that's available on release. To execute this plan, you just need to get Shinpachi on the field by himself, one way or the other. If you want plausible deniability, put him in the last slot of your party and arrange it so that the second to last servant is more likely to die. Either pick one with a natural taunt, one that self-destructs, or stick them with a taunt CE like Outrage. This gives you a bit of rocket fuel to close out a fight when your plan A doesn't work. This does doubly well if your plan A is an arts or quick setup. Then you won't have to worry about diluting your most effective support pool. And if you run Summer Scotty, there's a non-zero chance she survives until Shinpachi gets on the field, at which point she can use a second round of skills on him. Of course, this is a bit of a double-edged sword since she's much harder to get off the field than Shinpachi, so she could gum up the works. The other way to execute option 2 is to only run Koyanskaya, Shinpachi, and Chen Gong in that order. Gong should be level 1 and run Kaleidoscope. Shinpachi pops his skills, Koyan dumps all her resources into Shinpachi, Gong taunts himself, and then fires off his NP. Because Koyanskaya is in slot 1, she has a little accident one day before retirement. Then your underlevel Chen Gong takes aggro and bites it, leaving Shinpachi alone on the field to do his thing. Sounds pretty cool, right? Want to give it a shot? Well, now you're under arrest for conspiracy to commit murder. If you really want, or if you're confident in your enemy's aggressiveness, you can run a Chen Gong that has his third skill, which gives single turn buffs that get a lot spicier on berserkers like Shinpachi. The catch is that this same turn is the only one where you're not guaranteed to have a full hand of his cards, so it adds quite a bit of risk to the equation. At this point, it's important to understand that Shinpachi isn't a survivalist in the true sense. He can't stabilize and grind out a fight by himself. What he can do is stagger out his skills to slug it out with death in a DPS face race. So any situation where he's your plan A is one that you need to resolve within the first few turns, otherwise you'll run out of resources and meet the fate of an isolated berserker. But what if I told you there was a way to get the consistency of a solo with a meat shield factor a full party? Next summer, we get a very special servant that can rig your hand to only feature her own cards. That would be CL, If you're a JP player watching this, Olga Marie does the same thing. Now you might be thinking, so what? Well, if you have CL transmute your cards and then say, swap her out, guess what happens? CL ain't on the field anymore, so those cards become the ones of the incoming servant. Shinpachi, for example. Then what if Summer BB were already on the field so you can lock those profits in? Now you can leverage Shinpachi's Buster Brave Chain for the next 3 turns, guaranteed. Shinpachi takes fewer hits so he generates fewer stars, but you instead get star income from BB's Faceless Moon and whatever CEs you can muster for your supports. It's a filthy combo, and yet another reason you should pick up at least 1 copy of CL when she drops next year. Shinpachi's reliance on face cards means that, for once, I can suggest a high-end alternative to Black Grail. Victor of the Moon has the same extended stat cap that Black Grail does, but its Buster Crit focus aligns up better with Shinpachi's bread and butter. If you don't have your copy at a high level, you can run something like the first day of filming as a filler option in the interim. Golden Sumo might unironically fit too, for reasons that I'll get to in a minute. Geez, this guy really is a Year 2 player's wet dream. While Shinpachi does have a star engine, you may find it useful to run flat star command codes for a supplemental source. He already has so many crit damage buffs, they don't necessarily get better value going that route, at least not with your command codes. For additional teammates, consider Merlin for his Buster Crit support, Oberon to cash out Shinpachi on his 3rd turn, though your team building is going to be messy, and once she gets released, Elizabeth of the End. She's like Merlin but takes herself off the field for convenience. Something that's nice about Merlin, Ellie of the End, and let's rope in Summer Scotty too. They provide attack buffs, which the normal Shinpachi Queen combo lacks entirely. You want a little bit of that for multiplicative damage. Sumo anyone? Oh, fun little side fact, Shinpachi is a member of the Shinsengumi. Does this matter in gameplay? Not really. You're not going to take him on the field trip with Keisuke, that just means you'd be stuck babysitting both. Real mess, the Shinsengumi. Not much of an archetype. I used to be pretty down on Nagakura Shinpachi because he looked like some filler 4-star with a game plan that needs both card RNG and for him to get hit without dying. But I have to concede that not only is he more durable than he looks, but he has a number of functioning game plans. He can potentially need a lot of setup, depending on the route you choose, but he can also generate substantial burst turns with relative self-sufficiency once you get him into position. I wouldn't roll on the banners just to get him. He's not a game-changing servant. But there are ways to utilize him, and as an added bonus, most of them don't ask for a high NP level. Pretty cool. I got you beta last time by the timing of FGO's livestream, but for real this time, I'm going to be rolling on Shingen, and perhaps even doing raids on Sunday, if my math is right. Twitch.tv/Finotaisen. This will also double as my end of the month special, and I usually save a few surprises for that. Before that though, I've got Bravely Default on Friday and Mario Kart World with subscribers on Saturday, so stop by if you want to see any of that in action. See you there.